I would say, based on the settlement of Sydney, the early settlers and the people of No loved to build their cemeteries and their churches on Aboriginal sites. And this is a major area. It's a major site, particularly up on the hill there. It's right next to the other major site there. It's close to two growth areas, which were Chatswood and Ryde. It's right in the middle of it. And it would have been miles from anywhere in those days when they first started the cemetery up. So I'd say it's because it's they would see it as consecrated ground because it was holy ground. And I'd see it as a best fit. So it wasn't good for agriculture, and yet it was a spiritual area. We're near the Lane Cove River, and the Lane Cove River bends around here. That's probably the most important thing. So you're near a major waterway, which is like the Venice, it's like a canal, and it was used for transport. You're here also on the main road that goes north, so the main track that led out of what we now call Sydney Town led north, which is the Princes Highway, or the Pacific Highway or Princes Highway? Yeah, Pacific. And so that's the main track that led north, which was well defined. And you had a east-west track which went from Chatswood down the hill, down to not Fuller's Bridge, but just upriver where the fjord was, where the stones were, where the divide between freshwater and saltwater. You walked across there, and then the track followed its way up the hill and across and over to Top Ryde. And Top Ryde was another sacred area, which then led down to Hobush, Strathfield, and so it was a major road for that area. Beautiful big open forest, thick trees, beautiful big old trees, open forest where the ground was burnt on a regular basis, fire-stick farming. And this was a very light and bright forest, unlike Field of Mars where it was a dark, very thick forest. This was an open forest and a lot of light, and probably the climate here may be a little bit drier with the soil types here because it's basically sandstone ridge. Some Darug people inadvertently claimed all this country as Darug, and that's hotly disputed because Macquarie University is just over there and they claim Macquarie Uni's Darug. But the watershed area, where you drop water on a hill, if the water runs into that river, well then that belongs to that clan. So what's happening here is this is a part of the watershed area for the Lane Cove River. So any water that lands here runs into the Lane Cove River, so therefore it's Gai-mariagal land. If the water goes the other way, to the west, well then it's Darug land. So this is all Gai-mariagal, yeah. So unfortunately those people who claimed it as Darug just didn't have that knowledge, or weren't trained. The hilltops here is definitely Gai-mariagal, and the reason it's Gai-mariagal is because they're the warrior clan and they're here to protect this as sacred land because this is Kuriji sites. It's people of high degree. So this is directly linked up to Karangal. And the Kuriji here are also linked up to the Kuriji at West Head. But different ceremonial things happen up there to what happened here. Yeah, so it's linked up. And then from there it goes north to the flat top mountain there up in the Hunter Valley, which is Yengo, Mount Yengo. And Mount Yengo is where the army stepped off to go into the heavens. Yeah, and that's why it's a flat top mountain. Yeah, so they're all linked up together. Up there was the major burial ground, the major dance area for male and female, and then it's linked across to the northern suburbs crematorium, where the circle there was a very specific circle just for the Kuriji alone, not for any other people, and that's where the stairwell to heaven was. Yeah. Maggie just checking us out. Yeah. Yeah. And this area here is crisscrossed with streams and springs. So this wasn't just a barren top and surrounded by salt water. The salt water is important because it provides you food, but this area here, it was crisscrossed with springs. You've got an aquifer that feeds the fresh water out of here all the time. It's been just knocked around a little bit by the development and by the digging up and putting roads in and things like that. But yeah, they had fresh water up here. Yeah, it wasn't a barren place. There was fresh water and there was luxurious, luxurious growth, thick jungle type growth in the gullies, of course, of the water seepage. Yeah, and the big trees helped pull the water table up as well. I look down this valley here. This would have been a spring and maybe a hanging swamp. And I know on the other side, going in the Lane Cove River, there was another one there as well. Yeah, so all permanent water. Yeah, over the back near the cafe, in that area there was always water down there. The megafauna here was, I haven't said the name for so long, the crocodile, big crocodile in the Lane Cove River. That was the main story here. That was the story that used to put the wind up us as kids. We were never allowed to go near the brown water. Sweet water, yeah, no worries going there swimming, except for the giant eels. There used to be conger eels in there that were thicker than a fat man's thigh. Yeah, they were huge, these big conger eels, horrible to eat. We didn't eat them much. All around Sydney Harbour, there are pectographs, and they look like a U-shaped set of dots. If you put wet sand across them, you can easily make out the shape of a crocodile with its tail turned back. Metro Land Council will tell you it's a fish trap. It's a crocodile, and they're all down on caves which are close to the water level, because what it is, it's a warning sign: don't sleep in this cave. It's the orange mouth monster will get you. And I'm trying to think of the name. It's so long since I've said its name. No, it'll come to me. I'll ring it at 2 o'clock tomorrow morning. Anyway, it's a crocodile because it used to bask with its mouth open in the sun, and its mouth was orange. It's covered in spikes. All spikes go all the way down its tail. It has a huge long tail which will swing around, knock you off your legs. It's huge, grabs you under the water and rolls you around and pulverises you. And it stinks with the rotting vegetation on its back. It's a crocodile. It's a major crocodile. So you can imagine in the Lane Cove River, a huge crocs. Yeah, it would have been pretty scary with a fairly large population, just as it is in Northern Australia. You had the giant goanna on the land here, and the mega croc down in the water. Yeah, the jargon. It's called the jargon. Yeah, that's our word for it. That's our word for the monster, but which is probably a word for crocodile. Yeah, it's our way of explaining it. The smoking this morning, why it was important for me, I felt the heebie-jeebies. Well, first of all, I used the bull roarer to let the old people know that I was here. Where we were yesterday, I didn't have the need. I thought the clapsticks were enough. But here, I just wanted to make sure that we were all protected and the old people knew that we were here. And a bit of smoke, it puts you in the same molecular structure as the country. I didn't want anything bad to happen, because you don't want to get them upset. So it was really protocol. You don't go into someone's house without getting invited in. So it was my way of getting an invitation into the household. The one at French's Forest, that is unique because I've got friends, my living friends. Here I've got a few at Rellos. At Field of Mars I've got a lot of old family. And at Gore Hill, of course, I've got my placenta, and I've got old family, and there's family buried there that, the young children and things like that never made it. But here, here it's well, I'm close to my grandmother. She's over on the other crematorium. I'm close to one of my uncles. He's one of my mother's brothers is there. So this is like home. And I spent time here as a young child, in the bush. So at the back, my possum skin cloak comes from the possums that were captured around here. So yeah, this is home.